Hello, everyone. I hope you enjoyed the film, and thank you all so much for sticking around for this post-screening Q&A. I'm joined by Eeva Putro, the screenwriter of Tove. Thank you so much for making the time to talk to me today and to share your insights about the film with the audience here at the Arts Centre.
Thank
Um,
you.
So I suppose we should probably start at the beginning before we get into Tove. How did you get into screenwriting and what was your journey? I know you sort of have that background with acting as well. What kind of led you down this path?
Yeah, that's right. I'm an actress. I graduated 2008 from the Russian Academy of Theatre Arts from the St. Petersburg Academy. And then I had several years of acting jobs in Finland, basically, or mostly. And then I don't know, maybe I started to think of those scripts
Mm.
that I was offered and that I faced um, on my way or on my career. And I was maybe hoping for something else. I was hoping for more multi-level characters for women, for example. And that was one of my reasons to start thinking that maybe writing could be a good choice to add.
Was Tova your first screenplay?
No, it wasn't. I did a couple of short films before Tove,
Well,
and yeah,
yeah, it's definitely a very great feature film to start on because it's a fantastic film.
thank you.
So what drew you to Tove Jansson's story and wanting to tell and write this story?
To be honest, maybe that I mentioned before that I was missing strong films about female artists and so on. I saw so many films being done about male
Mm.
characters in Finland, and I was like fantasizing of having more like deep analysis on female artists. And of course Tove was my personal role model
Mm.
on many level or in many ways. So that was maybe a natural thought that just came to me one day, that why not make a film about Tove Jansson? Mm.
What made her your role model?
Um, she's her moving characters are very important to me, as they are for many Finnish people, because they are so sympathetic and yeah, deep and philosophical too. And her personal life that I knew something about was especially important to me because like I'm a queer person, so it was important to have some really interesting characters somewhere who had the same situation and who managed to live their own life openly. And yeah, that was one of the reasons.
So I think that segues really great into sort of my next question. Looking at the history of Tova, she was very outwardly queer and she was a very proud queer person. But in a way, I think, particularly when the Moomin story started to get bigger and they started to go more international, it seems like a lot of her narratives about queerness that were in the stories were written out. And we see them now being really reclaimed. I know on the Moomins website, they have this whole biography of Tova's queer history, which is very like super progressive and very insightful to read. So we see that sort of in the reflections of the characters that she puts, that she writes into the Moominville. And in the film, one of the focuses is on Thingamy and Bob in the English translation, which are the reflections of Tova's and Vika's romance. So what made you sort of want to write this story and make this a very proud queer film?
What made me to want to? It's an interesting, or
Well,
yeah,
what I know you said that.
interesting question, because of course I wanted to open her her unique way of loving, and her struggle to find herself, and so on. It was my main attempt when I started. So yeah, as a queer person. Yeah. But yeah, you talked about that her queerness was written out from her stories before, and I think it reflects the the way that our society has changed. That it was actually a bit like dangerous, and it was not easy to be open back then. And now when we have this progress in at least in Finland, not unfortunately in every country in the world, but that it's easier to be who you are. So now it's also possible to open her stories in a different way. And I'm very happy that Tove's relatives, Moomin characters, were supportive to this attempt, and it was easy to work with them, and they absolutely wanted us to tell the whole story as it was.
Oh, that's fantastic. Yeah, you can
Yeah.
definitely see when I was looking more into Tova's background, particularly the Moomin brand is very much embraces sort of her queerness now. And I think that's just really, really cool. So what was it like seeing this sort of your screenplay, this world that you lived in as you were writing this movie? What was it like seeing it come to life?
Of course, it's wonderful. It's a dream of every screenwriter, I guess. And yeah, and I was very lucky to be one of the actors too, so I could follow the process inside of the whole thing. And for me, the most nice moments were when the new characters walked into this makeup bus, and I was like, oh my god, this guy is exactly how I imagined her to be when I was in the writing chamber, writing those small characters that were maybe present only in one scene. But when they walked in, and I was, oh wow, someone has cast this guy, and it looks exactly what I wanted.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
is, I can imagine that being, I mean, I'm not a screenwriter, but I can imagine that being really such a magical moment walking on a film set and literally seeing all of like this whole vision that you've been living with in your head just come completely to life.
Yeah. And all that work that people had done, like with atelier and everything, and the places, and it's a huge amount of work, and I appreciate that.
I was just thinking of another question. Did you write the screenplay and then send it out to be bought, or did you work more with Zaida in creating sort of this screenplay? What was sort of the process with that in terms of getting it made?
In Finland, we usually we don't write the play and then sell it to someone. It's more of a process, and in this case, actually, I contacted Moomin characters first, because Finnish Film Foundation advised me to do so. And when they sent me this SMS that they were interested in my idea, that was the moment when everything started, actually, because there were some other proposals too on their desks. So on their desk. So yeah, I was the lucky one who was like chosen with my ideas of the
Awesome.
film. And then they advised us to go to this producer, Aleksi Pardi from Helsinki Filmi. And then I started to talk with Aleksi, and Aleksi trusted my idea, and we like continued with him first. So the first years of developing the script was actually without Zaida. It was between me and producer and financiers and dramaturgs and so on. I had a writing friend, or how you call it, like partner.
Yeah.
We wrote together at first with Jarno, and yeah, it was a very, very good period too. But then Jarno wanted to go out from the project, so I continued alone as a screenwriter.
So as you're moving sort of from the pre-production to the production phase, what was like the collaborative process? Obviously you were an actor in the film as well, but was there a lot of like working with the other actors, so Alma or Zaida, in terms of as the film was being made, or were you more a bystander because you've done your part in terms of writing?
Yes, we had rehearsals. It's not that common in Finland or in Europe, I don't know, because of the financial questions. Usually productions don't have money for extra rehearsals, which is sad. But yeah, we rehearsed every scene, if I remember right. Zaida wanted to go through all the scenes beforehand, and with the main characters. So yeah, we rehearsed and discussed with Zaida about our characters. Yeah.
Lovely. I find that really interesting. It seems like the Finnish film culture is like very much, I think you see that in the film in terms of you see the awards and the grants going out to the artists and they want to support the artists. Whereas in the UK, it is very much like you have a budget, you got to stick to your budget, and it's you work as hard as you can to like not go over that budget and still try to get a good product out. So I'm finding this very interesting that it feels like
I'm very happy that you have this picture of
yeah.
our film industry, but it's not completely true. I'm Unfortunately,
Yeah.
we have this financial limits as well that we need to appreciate, and our producer are as worried about money as
Yeah.
yours, I'm sure. And everyone wants to get the profit, like as much as they can. So yeah, it's not that.
We definitely need more of like a
Yeah,
global
that's
appreciation
correct.
for the
And
art.
I'm always so happy when I get a role in a project where at least most of the production workers are like for the art
Yeah.
itself.
Mhm.
It feels I'm very grateful for all those projects
Mhm.
where I'm given the possibility to make good art
Yeah,
instead
absolutely.
of something.
Something just to put out there.
Yeah.
Um, so do you have a favorite moment in the film? I think for me, you talked on this a little bit earlier, but I think for me, what the film does is it has a really incredible job at depicting female agency and identity and the process of exploring one's identity. Tova is so free and she's so liberated. And although there are reminders that she's part of this patriarchal society, and obviously you see that in terms of her being an artist in this very male-dominated world. she still has this freedom and this confidence in herself. And she's very much an independent person. And there's something like you said earlier, there's something so exciting about being able to see that on screen. Not just knowing that it's the sort of this fictional version that's on screen, but that's probably how she was in real life as well. And I think that's probably what I love most about the film, that it's just not a biography film, but it's a story about a woman who refuses to conform and to silence herself to fit into this patriarchal world. So do you have a favorite moment that you appreciate?
Mm? Obviously, every moment
Yeah.
is my favorite moment, but for me, the moment when I actually started to cry when I saw the first edit version was when Tove's and Tuulikki's hands were touching in the end. Because
Mhm.
for me, the love plot is really close and important too. So not only the work plot,
Yeah.
but her struggle with choosing choosing the right love.
Mhm. And I think the
Yeah.
film finds that nice balance between being, you go into it wanting to see about the Moomins, how the Moomins were created, because that's the story that you know. But the film has this nice balance between telling the story of the creation of the Moomins and really diving into this idea of love and how love progresses and how love presents itself. And I think that's a really I think that's what makes the film so beautiful and so touching.
Thank you.
Is there anything that you want audiences to take away from seeing this film?
Mm, if I could hope, maybe I hope that audiences will get like out a bit more empowered and willing to live their own life like openly and bravely
Yeah.
as
I think
Tove did.
I think this is a great film to show in Norwich, because Norwich is such a proud city and it's a very artsy city and it's a very LGBTQ plus friendly city. So I think the audiences watching this film will really appreciate it and really fall in love with it as much as I did. Um, so I think sort of a fun question to end on, is what is your favorite Moomin character and story?
What is my favorite character has always been this little Moo because she's so lovely in she is so lovely in her like a free way to show
Uh-huh.
her anger and and everyone loves her in spite of her bitter or not bitterness but um,
Her
openness
feistiness.
in yeah. I'm a small person too, so maybe I identify with her, but
Uh-huh.
because of that.
Do you have a favorite
Yeah,
story?
a favorite story. Hmm. Maybe the story with the dragon,
Hmm.
which was present also in the film.
Mhm.
Moomin Moomin found this dragon, this small dragon, and he somehow thought that he could love her or this dragon,
Uh-huh.
but dragons doesn't um, get used to Moomins or
Uh-huh.
get, so you have to be able to let it go.
Mhm. And I think that summarizes sort of the film very well, because that's sort of what you
Mm,
see with
yeah,
Vika and Tova's relationship as well. As much as she really wants to love, you have to let that go when it's not
yeah.
working.
If it hurts, you
Yeah.
have to.
Mhm.
Hmm.
Is there anything else that you would like to add or say before we close out?
I'm very happy that Tove is present in your program, and I really hope that you enjoy the film.
Again, well, thank you so much, Eeva, for taking the time out of your busy schedule to talk with me about this incredible film. And thank you to everyone who came out tonight to support Film East, and to the Norwich Arts Centre for having us. Good night, everyone.
Bye.